If you've been following Savor the Burn for any length of time, you know that we have an affinity, a love for West Bottoms Whiskey Company. Not only are they local, we love supporting local, anything, artistry, business, etc., etc. We have had on the podcast alone, we've had their original Kansas City whiskey, their maple finished rye, their American single malt, their blended malt, and now we're going to try their Tannat cask finished rye on this episode of Savor the Burn. Pow! Welcome to this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Over here is Mr. W2. How do you do?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah, we're doing all right. So we're definitely stoked to try this. We've been waiting for a long time to do this. The wait for me to not finished, to not... We've been waiting a long time to do this rye, finished in Tannat cask.
Look at the red color on that.
Yeah, it's reddish in color. It's got a pink wax on the top with the West Bottoms Whiskey Company stamp on the top.
There's just a little bit of sediment in there.
Oh, is it really?
And so at that angle, it looks metallic.
Dude, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, this one here, I posted in 3 different whiskey groups and for, you know, show prep, and this one here got the most comments. So anybody that's had it loves it. And
dude, it's wax dipped too.
Excuse me. And yeah, it's wax dipped, and I'm totally stoked to try this. The only one thing that made me pump the brakes is somebody said it tastes like strawberry, those strawberry, like grandma's strawberry candies.
Yeah.
You've seen them with like the little green top, twisty top with it. But honestly, dude, that's the only kind of
I love strawberries.
I like.
do not like those candies.
Really?
Yeah.
Girl, totally opposite. Totally opposite. And so those, I'll eat the shit out of them. I don't care. But yeah.
I mean, it's got the stamp on top of the wax.
Yeah.
Go ahead and crack that.
This has got a lot. This has got a lot going on for it. It's got the fan. So the wait for me, I believe, if it's not in your notes, I believe has something to do. That was easier than I thought it'd be, honestly. Has something to do with Union Station and the big clock up there hanging in Union Station.
I haven't heard that story
Soldiers would
yet.
return from World War II. They would say, you know, they write in their love letters to and from one another. They would say, "Wait for me under the clock at Union Station." You know, and so whenever their train would roll in, coming back from wartime, if you can imagine the horrors of war.
If that is partially the case, the other side of that story is the fact that they put this in a barrel and then kind of put it as an experiment. And then push it off to the side and forgot about it.
Totally forgot about it. For what was it, a year? Was it 6 months?
I think it was about a year. So this was an experiment that they put into a barrel. They set it aside and went back into production and other things.
Everyday
and
mode.
forgot about it.
Yep.
And then one day someone was walking through there and was like, "What is
that?
this barrel?" Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, it's that." And so that's. In my understanding, that is kind of part of that wait for me idea. But is there anything on the backside of this?
Actually, there is. There's like the whole story here. Let me bring it closer to the light here. My 43-year-old eyes had time of the recording. Sometime was starting to give in my old age. Inspired by a fan flirtations etiquette guide from the pre-prohibition era, which taught that an open fan directed a suitor to wait for me. So if you see the front of the bottle,
it's got the fan.
It's got the fan on there. So, you know, with the girls like, you know, I don't know what this is, but anyways, you know, they got the fan out. And then it goes on to say, this single barrel rye whiskey is finished in a Tannat wine cask from Amagoni Urban Winery to create a whiskey with rich dark fruit notes and familiar rye spice undertones. This one was worth the wait. So,
all right.
Yeah. What notes do you have?
Yeah, no, that's super cool because I knew that this was a single barrel because of what we learned talking to the good folks down there at West Bottom Whiskey Company, but it had not clicked in my head that, this is a single barrel offering. It's not batched. It's not blended.
Right. This came from a barrel.
It's a barrel. So everything that's in here is a barrel. I don't have a whole lot of notes on this. This bottle is not even on their website. And it's been out for a while now.
It has. So, at the time you see this, these bottles might be gone.
Yeah.
But definitely check out, if you're in the Kansas City area, definitely check out West Bottom's Whiskey Company and see if they have any available.
Yeah, I think that just speaks to how limited this particular offering is, because the maple cask rye was on there, the Malbec finished rye, or Malbec finished whiskey was on there. We did not get a chance to get one of those, but that's at least on their website. This is not anywhere on their website, so I don't have any notes other than this is a rye from West Bottom Whiskey Company. There is no age statement, and it comes in at 93 proofs.
Well, for those just joining us and have not heard of West Bottom's Whiskey Company, how about, do you have notes in here? Tell them about West Bottom's Whiskey Company, where you got this wonderful barrel, and I'll pour.
So West Bottom Whiskey Company is a whiskey distillery inspired by the spirit of innovation, optimism, and industrialization found in the historic West Bottoms district of Kansas City. We are constantly innovating with new distilling, aging, and blending techniques to craft the ever more perfect American whiskey. And that's taken right from their website. And they don't have, their website is very, very minimal. It's direct, straight to the point, with information on their tasting room and their hours and whatnot. You can actually sign up for distillery tours. That is so red. There's
it is so red. I was just thinking that. I've interrupted you so many times. I was like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Then you said something about it.
But talking about the West Bottoms, I think it was a Riggers episode that we were doing, but we learned that West Bottom area was known as the wettest block in Kansas City once upon a time because of all the distilleries that were located down there and all the whiskey that flowed from the stills down there. And so that plays into why West Bottom Whiskey Company picked the West Bottoms for their distillery and setting up shop, is because there's a lot of history down there.
Look how cloudy that is. Look at all that sediment. Right? I mean, hold that up to your light there real quick.
I know. I mean, it totally looks metallic. It totally looks metallic.
That is so cool.
All right.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of proof on the nose, but there is
proof on the nose. Yeah, it smells
There's a lot of fruit notes.
It smells like their West Bottoms whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. Smells like whiskey. Yeah, whiskey. And
there's a nice sweet tart kind of a nose on it.
Like maybe not dried cherries, but like,
I'm thinking like gobstopper.
Stone fruit.
Gobstopper candy.
Wow.
Or sweet tarts.
I'm gonna put down sweet treats.
Sweet treats. I like that.
Whiskey.
And this color is a strawberry raisin kind of a.
Yeah. I love that there's all that sediment in there, and look at all the legs, man.
Even in the pour, there's a lot of sediment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I accidentally did that too. I guess the whole time I've had this bottle, I didn't even notice that it had that amount of sediment in there. But how cool is that?
Yeah, super cool.
I mean, we talked about sediment like way early on in the episodes in this podcast. So like
it's indicative of it not being filtered,
right?
Or non-chill filter.
So way back when we started, I talked about how if I did a pour, I would usually do 2 fingers in my my cocktail glass, whatever, and then put an ice cube in there, swish it around till about half of it was melted, pull the ice cube out, and just kind of drink my semi-watered down, semi-chilled whiskey, and then that would be it. pretty much. And then sometimes, depending on what I poured, there would be sediment in there, and I would be like, "What is this? Like mosquito larva floaters doing in my?" Obviously, my glass was gross. There was something in my ice. Oh my God, what the fuck? And then I'd throw it out and I'd start over, get the same results. I'm like, I must be going crazy. I'm insane. And then we started this podcast, and that's when I began to learn that through the filtration process, they can pull those out. And what those are just solids. Those are the fats.
Little fats.
That happen, in the distillation process and in the barrels. And, if it makes it to the bottle, great. That's extra flavor. It's all the things. So, I've learned to accept it and actually look forward to it and enjoy it. This thing's got legs for days, dude.
So don't hate me on this, and don't let this influence or ruin your experience with this. But on the nose, I'm getting strawberry shortcake.
Really?
Like the shortcake, the strawberry, the syrupy, sweet all over the strawberries. Yep.
All right. So that's, I got sweet treats, whiskey, fruit candy, strawberry shortcake. On the nose, I'm not picking up on rye.
No.
I'm picking up more on the wine essences of wine fruit, I should say. Wine fruit.
Yep.
But I'm not picking up on rye on this. So that's very, very strange.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get this on the palate.
Let's get it on the palate.
There's some rye.
Yeah, rye shows up.
Like maybe even pumpernickel bread.
You think so? Pumpernickel.
Yeah, well, like a cross between a sourdough and a rye pumpernickel bread.
Ah, damn it. On the late finish, I'm picking up on some of the strawberry undertones that people were talking about.
It's there.
I mean, whatever, if you're wondering why he's trying to, walk on eggshells when involving strawberries, if you haven't watched long enough, you probably don't know that I am not the world's biggest fan of strawberries. I just plain don't like them. I think they're hot garbage. But I do understand that 99.999% of the world's population loves them, and that's totally fine. More for y'all. I don't need to be a part of that equation. But I think I'm picking up some of that on the late finish. But we haven't really talked about the length of the finish, or really a whole lot going on the palate other than rye, pumpernickel / sourdough bread. I'm picking up wine notes, and kind of dark berry. Do you pick up any what's the really dark cherries? Know what I'm talking about?
Dark cherries?
Yeah,
black cherries.
Black. Duh. Okay, so I'm thinking like black cherry, like maybe dried black cherry. Maybe on the palate.
Yeah.
I'll write that.
I get black cherry.
Dried black cherry. So the finish, as far as length
I might
goes,
even say mulberry.
I call it / I love mulberry season. It's only there for 3-4 weeks tops.
Man, all the seeds
out there in the tree.
that you get
a lot of seeds, man. But I mean, the juice, it's so distinct. And I'm out there in the trees, like anything I can reach is for me. Anything above me is for the birds. Anything over on the other side of the fence is for the neighbors. I'm very Unitarian, or whatever the word is, when it comes to that. But yeah, so I definitely see the mulberry. So what would you put this at a medium finish?
Yeah, I'd say medium.
Would you? Or honest now?
No, I would.
Okay.
It's definitely not long.
Right.
And I don't think it's a short finish either, because it has a little bit of a lingeringness to it.
The lingering, which would, for me, I would probably call the taste on the palate after the finish, post-taper palate, if you will, would be where the strawberry influence would come from. What else do you pick up on taste as far as finish goes? Anything? Anything of note? I want to taste it again to see if the rye is still there.
I don't think the rye is there in the finish. I think really it finishes just with that the berries and those fruit notes.
Yeah, fruit notes, oak. Yeah, unifinish fruit.
I think that sweet sweetness, tanginess to it pulls on through to the finish a little bit, but not much.
Candied strawberry. I'll be happy to share this one with my son and see what he thinks. The problem is next time I see him, we'll be in the same place and it won't be my house. So these might be sitting on the shelf for a long time.
Take it with you.
First impressions, cocktails.
Oh, I don't even know.
Don't even know? I really don't either. West Bottoms Whiskey Company, they have a, what is it, Nocturne Noir or something? Mm-hmm. What is?
Yeah, but they make that with their standard Kansas City whiskey.
Yeah, I wonder what it would be like with this.
I think this would push it too far.
Too far in the wrong direction? Okay. I don't know. I don't think it'd be great smoked.
Oh, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. First impression. I mean, what was the proof on this? 93 proof. I mean, that's perfect for cocktails if you want to use it in a. Just try it with an old fashioned. Try it with a Manhattan. You know, just see what's what. Oh, the problem is it only comes in 375s. They didn't do the full 750.
You're gonna run out real quick.
Yeah, this is such a limited release. You know, it was only in one 5-10 gallon barrel.
Something like that.
What did he say? I don't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know, leave a comment in the comment section.
I thought it was 153 gallon.
Oh, one full. Okay, one. Oh, okay, all right.
But you may be right. Maybe it was one of the smaller
just
5 gallon or 10 gallon.
If it was a 5 or 10 gallon, it'd be fucking gone already.
I would think so.
They really need to bring back that maple. That rye.
I mean, I can see
maple cask finished rye.
If they have it on available at the tasting room and however many bottles that they had available, I could see a 53 gallon barrel.
They just don't have it in other stores. Like they didn't distribute it.
There's no distribution on this one. Nope. You have to go down to the distillery for this one.
And that could be because of the labeling. Now we haven't really talked so much about the bottle presentation, except for at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. It's just like their other bottles. It's the classic.
It is
West Bottoms Whiskey Company shouldered flask
and
style.
Like with all their other ones,
heavy bottom.
Yep. And just like all their other ones, their labels play off of a lot of the same elements. Mm-hmm. So
only
it's
this one's got the wax dip. With
the
stamp on the top. They're
the dark red.
Their American single malt. Did their blended malt have the wax? I'm thinking it did, but I'm not 100% sure.
No, it did not.
It did not?
No,
okay.
It was just the single malt.
Yeah, okay. The single malt had the black wax. Okay.
Yep.
And nobody can touch the red dip because of Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the seal.
Yeah, technically that's not a red wax. Well, I think you can do red wax. I think you just have to give it a nice
it's the drip.
Haircut. It's the drip. It's the drip. It's not the color.
What? Haircut?
Well, yeah.
The fuck is a haircut?
Trim your wax drippings.
It's a
your
joke.
Long hair.
Where's the haircut? Anyway, yeah. So, this one is, what would you call this? Some kind of burgundy wine, brandy wine?
That is definitely like a red wine.
Yeah.
Or a wine, yeah.
Yeah, I like the bottle presentation.
Yeah,
I've always liked West Bottoms Whiskey Company. I like what they have to offer.
And honestly, we talk about this being a flask style bottle. Mm-hmm. When it's in a 375, guess what?
It's a pocket flask right up there in the breast pocket.
That fits quite nicely in an interior pocket.
This one I might go 375 with, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, it does have the wax dip. It's got the stamp on the top. It's got this cool. I'm a fan of purple. Like, sometimes the way the sun hits the colors on the side of my truck, purple shows up.
I love the metallic ink that they chose for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just
that's why I'm bringing it back
nice.
up.
Yeah.
This is slightly reminiscent of the remember Same Old Moses with their different wine finished notes. So it kind of reminds me of that. And I was a fan. One of them gave me a nasty headache. Hopefully this does.
Was that the port finish?
Yeah.
We had two of them on podcasts, the port finish and then just the regular straight bourbon.
Yeah. And the other one was at the Snug.
That was the Tawny cask.
Tawny cask. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because we read about it, but I didn't have access to it, but Mike did up there at the Snug. So when it comes to this rating, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
Yes, sir.
Try to get my glass dry while we're talking our ratings. I'm going to try to make sure that my glass is dry for the second nose. All right, nose. What did you give it on the nose?
I gave it a 375.
375, really? Okay, so with as many things as it had on the nose, unexpected things.
No.
I mean, maybe expected because we had so much feedback on this one, specifically on our social posts in the whiskey groups. I mean, we came up with sweet treats of some kind. It smelled like whiskey. Thank fuck. Fruit candy. Strawberry shortcake, with like the kind of syrupy stuff in there, and kind of wine fruit, which could be a stone fruit, it could be the dark berries, it could be black cherries, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of surprised to see 375 on your score.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 425 because it had a lot to offer. Even though I'm not a big fan of what this had to offer, it had a lot to offer. I could really see how some folks would absolutely love this. What disappointed me on this, why I didn't give it a 4.5, is that it didn't show up with any rye.
It did not
on the nose.
And I think that adds to why I kind of docked it down some. Is there's no rye to be found on the nose anywhere.
Yeah, so maybe in hindsight I rated that too high because
it shows up.
I was a little disappointed. It does show up on the palate, and the palate I gave it a 4 even.
Girl, same.
How about that? So we talked about the palate. The rye showed up. We talked about how the pumpernickel / sourdough bread notes were in there. I totally agree with that, especially on the sourdough part. The wine notes carried through over into the palate. I thought it had some black cherry, kind of after talking through with it with you, black cherry showed up, and you said mulberry.
What is that dark cherry again?
They call that black cherry. How about the finish?
I came back down to 375.
So did I. So I did expect you to drop, like when you said 4, I expected your finish to be 375, usually because you drop it down. And especially this time because, once again, rye didn't show up anywhere else except for on the palate.
No.
Which was a little disappointing, but still, this thing had so much to offer on all notes. So we came up with medium length finish.
And to be fair, not that long ago we did the little book.
We did.
Path Not Taken, 2024 release. Which,
so good. Which was a 4-year.
So there's a 4-year, there's multiple 5 years, there's an 11-year, all straight rye, and then there's an 18-year straight bourbon.
Yeah.
That's all in that blend, which gives a little bit of sweetness. But the rye, it was just so phenomenal on that one.
And that was their main focus was the rye on that one.
Make this a really rich rye forward offering.
And this one here, you can't really count against it.
I'm not counting against it
because of that. I mean, they accidentally forgot that this some bitch was aging.
But if it's a rye.
Cask.
I want rye to show up.
I want rye to show up too, man.
I want
really
to show up at party.
Because I'm a rye fan. We talked about this several times,
Yep.
But yeah, we had on the
tangent. Have you seen that Knob Creek recently put out a Bourbon X rye offering?
No.
It is a blend of their 8-year bourbon and their 7-year, or is it 6-year? I don't remember. But it's a blend of their main offering bourbon and their main offering rye.
Okay.
Come together.
Okay. Okay. I think blends
I'm excited about that because that should yield itself a little bit more than just a high rye bourbon would, but be a little bit sweeter than a straight rye would. So it should be.
In our experience, we've become very fond of blends.
Yep.
You know, and
best of both worlds.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean that
bring
little
together
book,
what
we were just talking about Little Book. Little Book was a blend, and I mean, it was rye forward with the bourbon sweetness, and I mean, it was so good, so good. Let's see. Yeah. So we talked about on the finish, medium finish length. It had kind of mixed, kind of dried, whatever fruit notes. There was oak, and there was like candied strawberries.
Yep.
You know, or like candied strawberry, not berries, but like what people had told me they thought they tasted. I actually picked up on. I thought these people are fucking nuts. There's no way, but yeah, they did. The candy, the strawberry candies that you can't stand, is the only strawberry thing I actually enjoy. Showed up. So whatever. So I don't know. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised that we both ended up on the same 375 note on the finish. How about bottle presentation? We talked about that quite a bit. I'm interested to see what you said.
I gave it 4 1/4.
Dude, what the fuck? So did I. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean
that's cool.
It has the best of all their presentations.
It does.
Even though it's a 375 bottle, it is wax dips. It's got the seal stamp on the top of it.
Right there on the top.
I love that purple metallic ink that they use on the labeling. Yeah.
I like the fan that they put on there.
I like the fan. I like the script font for Wait For Me.
The story on the back.
Yep. It's a great bottle.
Yeah. I've got zero complaints. I mean, other than, why the fuck isn't it a 750? But knowing what I know, I absolutely know why it's not a 750.
Yep.
It's not a regular offering. It's a special offering, a limited release. So what is your final score?
7 5/8, 7625.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Mine ended up being 8 1/8.
Okay.
8.125. So we're not too far away from each other.
That's a half point off.
Half a point spread. But that's fairly indicative of the way half a bip away from one another.
Filmageddon.
And that's fairly indicative of how we've always done, or always ended up being in our final scores. So that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we run out of time, second nose. You picking up anything? Oh, okay. Right off the bat, cereal.
Still no rye.
Corn, wheat. I'm picking up corn, or I'm picking up wheat. Kind of more than that's rye.
Is
rye. I think rye. The rye grain, the actual grain part, the dry grain comes to me anyway on second nose. Plus wine.
I don't know.
What are you getting on second nose? Don't listen to me. You tell me.
No,
you tell me.
I think the usual cereal grains. Just a light brown sugar sweetness.
I can see that.
Maybe some toffee.
Yeah, you know what? That's something we didn't even talk about as far as the sweetness goes. Like where on the sweetness, spectrum does this show up on?
For me, the only sweetness that I felt came forward in any stage was that candied sweet tart kind of a sweetness. Candied fruit sweetness.
Yeah, and we know zilch, nada about Tanat wine.
Right.
We don't know if it's a port or if it's a dry wine or if it's a sweet wine. We have no idea. So if you know, please chime in the comments. Send us an email, info@savortheburn.com, and let us know if you have had Tanat cask or Tanat
it is
cask.
clearly,
let us know what you think.
It has clearly influenced this just because of that color.
The color.
That is not a whiskey color of any kind, so it is definitely influenced.
It's like rose, pinkish red. I mean, it's so.
Maybe even a raisin.
So interesting. Yeah, like raisin red. Yeah, that's a good assessment. So So since there's so little juice in a 375. I'm kind of hesitant to bring up the whole, what cocktail would you suggest kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is either neat or actually, dude, I think this would be good in an old fashioned. I really do. But old fashions to me are kind of the benchmark cocktail. Like everybody's got them. Try it in an old fashioned, see if it works well.
If it doesn't hold up in an old fashioned, it's not going to hold up in anything
much else. Yeah, really. Yeah. So if I had to, assuming this were widely available here, there, and everywhere, and if I were to suggest this to somebody, I would probably say, look, if you like Kansas City whiskey, period, and enjoy wine cask finished whiskeys, ryes included into that, I would definitely suggest they try a pour of this. Wait for me to not cask finished rye
and it's
whiskey.
available in the tasting room.
It's available in the tasting room, and the bottles are available there at West Bottoms Whiskey Company.
And then if you like it, pick up a bottle while you can.
Yeah, while you can, because it is limited. It's super limited, and it has had great response. I think the people that buy the bottles are hesitant to work the bottles past the halfway mark. Because for whatever reason, for me, it seems like when you get the bottles at halfway mark, you've got probably less than 3 months to just go ahead and finish that bottle. Otherwise, the taste is going to get really fucking funky. Yep. But if it's half or above, especially above, you've got a decent 6 to 9 month shelf life on that. But if it's unopened, just open the fucking thing. Whiskey was meant to share, guys.
Yes, sir.
It was meant to share. Yeah. So I would suggest this, even though it's a rye and you can't exactly taste the rye. I would suggest this to any wine cask finished enthusiast, whiskey enthusiast, any possibly rye enthusiast that has never tried a wine cask finished rye. Or anybody that stops by West Bottoms Whiskey Company and you're like, you know what, you want to try something really fucking different? This is what you're going to try. Just like on Burn the Gates photo day, when I bought so many drinks for strangers and bought you a bottle, bought me a bottle. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so I was just happy to be in the band, and what a great experience West Bottoms Whiskey Company turned out to be. If you're in town, in Kansas City proper, put West Bottoms Whiskey Company on your places to go.
It's got to be a destination.
It's a destination. You have to stop there, unless of course you don't drink. All that to say, we really hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Savor the Burn podcast. Once again, I'm Jonathan. This is W2. You can find us savortheburn.com. If you want to email us, info@savortheburn.com. W2@savortheburn.com. Jonathan@savortheburn.com. We've got Patreon leveled tiers. We've got the liquor cabinet where you're going to find this. Yep. We've got cocktails galore. Like if you haven't stopped by savortheburn.com, do so and just click the drop down menu where it says cocktails. Click on that. It's got so many. You're going to be inspired beyond inspiration. You're going to love it. I love it. Every time I go on there, like I'll click on there at work and I'll just like click the tab open and do my thing. And people that walk past the desk, they'll be like, "Whoa, that looks good. What is that? Tell me." And I'm like, "Well, it just so happens I'm in a podcast called Savor the Burn." And and then I'll sell t-shirts, which are on the shop. savortheburn.com/shop, and there you'll find glassware, barware. We've done the cocktail kit that we've given away to our dear friend now, Michelle Masato. So we're just we're having a great time. Hopefully you're having a good time with us, and thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're on any of our audio-only platforms, and no matter who you are and what you're drinking and who you're drinking it with, never forget,
keep on burning.